I'm so excited to announce that I'll be launching my program Life Skills very soon. More information can be found on my socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. In the show notes is the link to receive up-to-date information. I look forward to seeing you there. Hi, this is Jill. Welcome to the Life After podcast, where we talk about moving from surviving to thriving. This podcast is for anyone who wants to learn, grow, to get tips and tricks about how to inspire you to become the person you want to be, and get clarity about exactly what you want in life. This is also the place to be if you want to be lifted up and encouraged to go out and do great work in the world. What has happened in your past does not have to define who you are today or who you become in the future. And in fact, what has happened to you in the past should, can, and will shape who you want to be. This podcast is also about bringing people together. It's about connecting all of you, helping you identify where you are in your process. What do you need to feel more engaged and alive in your life? More connected to the people in your circle? This is a community of those who are looking to improve our world in the way that is most meaningful to them. Why is this important? Because how we show up really matters. Bringing more service, kindness, and love into the world is critical right now. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Susan Jeffers. Feelings are much stronger than thoughts. We are all led by instinct, and our intellect catches up later. Bono. I loved this one. Feelings are just visitors. Let them come and go. By Mooji. And anyone ever felt this one? My feelings are too loud for words and too shy for the world. Dejan Stojanovic. Our feelings are our most genuine paths to knowledge. Audre Lorde. Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. Thich Nhat Hanh. You have a right to your thoughts and feelings. Your feelings are always valid. Iyanla Vanzant. In episode 4 this season, we focused on our emotions. We are going to round out that discussion in this episode by talking about all things feelings. Sometimes the episodes of Life After are related to my own questions and interests in learning new things. I'm not a therapist, and this is definitely the case here when we talk about emotions and feelings. Are they really different? All evidence indicates yes. However, trying to find specific explanations and examples is challenging. Admittedly, there is so much more information out there about emotions. So, throughout this episode, I'll give lots of comparisons between emotions and feelings, and as many examples and definitions of feelings that I can. Hopefully, this will give us a feel for feelings. We're going to keep learning and in the process growing so that we can identify our own emotions and our feelings and manage them both in a kind and loving manner. That way, they will serve us instead of sink us. Remember from episode number 4, the American Psychological Association defines emotions as, quote, conscious mental reactions that are typically accompanied by physiological and behavioral changes in the body, end quote. This means that our emotions originate as sensations in our bodies. It also means that feelings represent the way we experience whatever emotion is being activated in us. Feelings are more specific, tend to be conscious to us, and happen more quickly because they are reactions to emotional stimulus. Feelings can be extensions of our emotions. Our sensations resulting from emotions come from our mental thoughts and can be impacted by the internal stories we've created about situations in our lives in the past or what we anticipate in the future. Feelings can linger for a long time, too. The German philosopher Immanuel Kant says one can equate feeling to states of pleasantness and unpleasantness. In psychology, this is known as affect. Our environment can influence our feelings and can become habits. So this is where it's super important to be aware of our feelings so they don't create habits that we later want to undo. For example, experiencing the emotion of sadness that then lasts for many years and impacts our willingness to connect with others and also creates loneliness in our lives. Feelings are influenced by our emotions, but are generated from our mental thoughts. We often start with the emotion, and our brain then associates something physical happening to go along with that specific emotion. The brain kicks in and assigns labels, really, the feeling that is connected to that emotion. I'm going to use an example from the article, The Important Difference Between Emotions and Feelings by Rachel Allyn, as printed in Psychology Today. And of course, the link will be in the show notes. Allyn says, you notice the emotion of discomfort while at a party as your stomach clenches and your breathing gets constricted. Then your mind labels that as feeling awkward because perhaps you don't know many people there or you just saw an ex-boyfriend. Yet another person with those same emotional bodily sensations, however, might label the experience as exciting because they get to meet new people or see their ex again. Another great example, this one is from Emotions versus Feelings, 7 Important Differences by Sarah Kristenson. Of course, again, the link is in the show notes. Her example says, let's say you and your friend disagree over a sensitive issue. You might leave the conversation after experiencing anger, which is the emotion. Your anger might feel like frustration because you think your friend talks over you to get their opinions across quickly. On the other hand, your friend's anger might feel like irritation because they think you're arrogant and always dismiss their opinions. I've put a link in the show notes to give a visual of the feelings wheel and how it incorporates our core emotional states. Notice how the feelings wheel feels closely related to the 6 core emotions we talked about in episode 4. As you can see, they are inextricably linked, and you get a more truthful assessment of your feelings by first identifying your emotions. I read in several articles the concept that the same emotion can cause different feelings in different people. This is important to understand because it helps us to not assign our feelings to someone else feeling the same emotion we are, and therefore assume what they're feeling. Knowing this also helps us recognize that we don't want to assume how someone is feeling or judge or criticize them because their feelings are different than our own, even if we are currently going through or have gone through the same experience. Now that we know what feelings are, how do we identify what we are feeling and actually feel them? This can be more complicated than we think because so often we aren't really engaged in our feelings. We are at the mercy of them. We also have had a lifetime of people telling us about negative feelings versus positive feelings. And even the positive feelings we're often socialized to not really feel. Don't have too much joy because you risk the possibility of disappointment, or don't be too proud of yourself because it'll seem like you have a big head, are 2 examples of what we would consider positive feelings that we're still socialized to not look at or really feel. There's a reason we have strong feelings, because they're guiding us through life based upon our interpretation of those feelings. And when we're taught not to have big feelings, which so many of us have been, this can create an internal dilemma, of course. Also, what we feel is our interpretation or perception of what's happening in the world, and we can read situations incorrectly. Thank you very much, lizard brain. In order to feel our feelings, we often need to slow down and, well, actually feel them. I think it's really natural to be afraid to feel your feelings because they can be indicators for what might not be going well in your life. Yell at the dog after a stressful day at work? Maybe it's time to look at why the job is stressful and what that's doing to you. But to come face to face with a reality we'd rather deny, that can be really fucking scary. We become very adept at ignoring and burying our feelings over time. However, our body and mind aren't going to let it go. And the old adage of what you resist persists is so true here. From the article, The Key Skill We Rarely Learn, How to Feel Your Feelings, according to Victoria Lemmy-Beckner, you can use mindfulness techniques to help you cultivate the art of leaning into your feelings by following 4 steps. Step 1 is to name the feeling. This takes a moment of pause to focus on it. Try to identify what it is. If needed, use the feelings wheel, to help identify what it is. If it feels scary to name your feeling, especially if it feels like one of those negative feelings, remember there is no negative feeling. They are all designed to help us in some way or another. In step 2, allow the feeling sensations in your body. Our body and mind are intimately connected. Can you observe what's happening in your body without denying it? This takes practice, especially when a feeling feels threatening to you. Stick with it, because our feelings will often only get bigger when we ignore them. It's vital to our overall mental health to acknowledge and accept all of our feelings, even when we'd rather resist them. Step 3 is to mindfully investigate what's at the heart of your feelings. What is driving how you are feeling? When you go through this process a few times, you'll realize that what you're feeling is often only the first layer to what's really happening. Beckner says to keep this process simple. What is at the heart of your pain or joy, for example? She encourages us to feel the pain without the blame. When you can do this, it strengthens your ability to drop deeper into your feelings where the core of your values lie. The final step is to bring compassion to your experience. Always be kind to yourself and others. Remember, we all have those gremlin voices that take up space in our head. This is not the time to let them participate. Always know that you get to feel however you're feeling. There is no criticism or judgment, and learning to give yourself that space and grace is critical. If you have trouble with this step of being compassionate to yourself, think about what you would say to your best friend or close family member, and then apply it to yourself. Feeling our feelings can sometimes seem scary. Consider the depth of our emotional capacity as humans. When we can tap into our feelings in a healthy way, instead of using avoidance and denial and distraction, it significantly opens up our capacity to have rich, loving relationships with ourselves and our people. Doesn't that make it worth it? I'm always here to help. Please reach out to me if you would like some additional support. Would like me to come speak to your organization or school? Would like to be a guest on the show? There's a link in the show notes for how to reach me, or go to my website at locatecoaching.com. I'd like to leave you with what Bryant H. McGill says. It's not wrong to be upset. It's not wrong to cry. It's not wrong to want attention. What is wrong is to keep it all inside. What is wrong is to blame and punish yourself for simply being human. What is wrong is to never be heard and to be alone in your pain. Share it. Let it out. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode on feelings. Remember, your ability to identify your emotions versus your feelings and then give yourself the gift of feeling those feelings, you can improve your overall well-being and promote better health. I look forward to us continuing to learn together. I appreciate you sharing these episodes. This podcast is a powerful resource for anyone that is looking to make changes in their lives. So please, please, please help me grow by sharing, liking, and subscribing. There will be new episodes on the second and fourth Wednesday every month. I promise that every episode I'm going to show up and help support you in your individual journey. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon.